Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to a new episode of the AM Show. Today, I'm so excited to bring you Sam Cohen from Amazon Consulting Experts. If you've ever thought about selling on Amazon, have considered it, or are currently selling on Amazon, then I invite you to listen to all the valuable information he is about to share. You have landed on a goldmine. This is the AM Show with Arts Music Lawyer, where ambition and motivation meet persistence and drive, where your wildest dreams come true and even the greatest possibilities become realities. Listen to people just like you who stay authentic to who they are and master the art of their craft. Are you sharing the art of you? The art of you is music to my ears. Stay focused, stay on track. Create a new lifestyle with ambition and motivation. The AM Show. This episode is sponsored by the law firm of Marcella Dominguez. If you're an entrepreneur, business owner, or artist looking to protect your brand, then Marcella is right for you. Marcella has worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs like authors, clothing brands, Amazon sellers, consultants, and entertainers. Protecting your brand does not have to be tough. Let Marcella save your brand before your business name or slogan gets pulled out from under you. Go to marcellatm.com to learn more. So welcome, Sam.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
So tell everyone what your business is all about and what you help entrepreneurs do.
Sure. So I'll give you a brief background. I was a top-level executive for an electronics company in New York City back in 2008, 2009. And then when the financial crisis hit, we were told that everybody was either going to get a massive pay cut or let go anybody who was making, six figures. So at that time, I went out on my own, and I really struggled for 2 years trying to find my next business. I did flea markets, I did street fairs, I did a lot of wholesale where I bought from one person and I sold to another person. And I really did whatever I had to do to keep my family, fed. And a friend of mine had given me some DVDs. He was selling into Walgreens, and he was giving me all the returns and the rejects. And I was selling them in the flea markets for like $1 a piece. And so one day I had this idea. I had so many DVDs. I said, let me try to sell 1,000 at one time on eBay. Because I used to have a lot of success on eBay going back about 23 years ago. When digital cameras first came out, I was very successful on eBay. And so I tried to put 1,000 DVDs on eBay for $1,000. And to sweeten the pot, I put my own DVDs in the mix. So I had like the Beatles, I had the Twilight Zone, I had things that people would actually want to watch instead of just the public domain DVDs that I was selling for $1. And somebody messaged me through eBay's system, and he said, how many of these are the good titles and how many are not? And so I told him, and he said, so about 900 of these are not really worth much, So I asked him, I said, what are you doing with these? Are you selling them individually or on eBay, or you have a retail store, or do you do flea markets? And he said, no, $8 an hour, and I sell about 1,000 DVDs a month on Amazon. Now, at the time, in March of 2011, I didn't even know you could sell on Amazon as a third-party seller. I thought it was only Amazon that was selling. So I sat by my computer for 18 hours a day, and I typed in, how do I sell on Amazon? About 1 million different ways, hoping to get different results. I called anybody that had any information about selling on Amazon. I researched like crazy. And I figured out how to do merchant fulfilled on Amazon. And right away, we did $25,000 a month in DVD sales.
Wow.
And then for the next 6 months, I was being told by this gentleman who worked for a software company that I have to do FBA. And the whole concept of fulfillment by Amazon was foreign to me because I grew up in retail, and you put something on the shelf and somebody buys it and they pay you, and that's it. This was totally different where you're sending in the goods technically on consignment. You're waiting for it to sell, and then Amazon ships it to the consumer, and then they pay you. So I literally was brought to tears on many a day trying to figure out how to create FBA shipments, how to print out FBA labels so that they were on the right size and the right labels. And I was only selling DVDs at times, so every barcode had to be covered with a label.
Oh,
There was
wow.
no such thing as commingling or anything like that. And once I flipped the switch in October of 2011 to FBA, my sales went from 25,000 a month to 100,000 a month overnight. So it was a combination of FBA and Q4, which I know now, fourth quarter on Amazon is insane. And from there, we doubled in size every year for the past 8 years. This March was our eighth year selling on Amazon. We've completed over 2 million transactions, in excess of $50 million in sales total. We have 50,000 plus seller feedback with 100% ratings. And I've been invited to Amazon headquarters. I've been featured in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times. I've shared the stage with Tony Robbins and Russell Brunson and Brian Tracy, Gary Vaynerchuk. I've spoken all over the world about Amazon, from Australia to Russia to India. You name it, I've spoken about Amazon there. And so about 4 years ago, I was bored, I guess, because I'm a serial entrepreneur. And most of my employees have been with me for about 7.5 years. So they understand Amazon about as well as I do, or at least certain parts of it. And so I was literally helping people for free on Facebook all day for like 8 hours a day. And I was just answering questions like rapid fire. Anybody who's seen me post knows, I post like crazy, if I'm in an Amazon group. And I was just helping people for free. And then I was featured in the Wall Street Journal, and people started calling me, asking me to do consulting. And so I said, you know what, that's not a bad idea, because I was spending my entire day answering questions for free. And I was probably costing myself about $500,000 a year in my own business. But it was something I enjoyed doing, so I didn't mind it. So I figured out a way to turn this into a business. And I said, I'm going to work one-on-one with 100 sellers. We're going to charge them $5,000 each. And we're going to make sure every single one of them is successful. I didn't want 1,000 clients. I didn't want 10,000 clients. I wanted 100 clients so I could prove the concept.
Amazing.
And that first year was insane. I mean, we took people from 0 to 2.5 million in gross sales in a year. We took people from 20,000 a month to 200,000 a month in a year. And my consulting business, I had a one-on-one with Tony Robbins. I traveled the world with him for a year. And he asked me, I said, how do I get from where I am to where you are? And he asked me how many businesses I had, and I told him 10. And he laughed, and he said, well, how many of them are wildly profitable? And I said, well, 2 or 3. He goes, okay, so you either need to sell the other businesses or outsource them to partners or outsource them to employees. And I said, he goes, and focus on the 2 or 3 that are wildly profitable. And I said, I know all this already. And his response was, but you're not effing doing it. So that was a light bulb moment for me in front of 3,000 people at Business Mastery in Las Vegas. And after that, my consulting business exploded. He asked me, why do you do your consulting business if you have your successful Amazon business? I told him we're in the top 1% of all sellers. We sell $20 million a year on Amazon. He goes, so why do you do the consulting? And I never actually thought about why I do it. I just did it. And he said, I want you to answer from here, from your heart, not from your brain. So I said, my Amazon business sustains me and my consulting business fulfills me. And he started crying. He came over, he gave me a hug and a kiss. He's like, that's incredible. That's awesome. And it was like, from that moment on, I was like 10xing my consulting business. So from that moment on, I really focused all my energies, my resources, my time, my money into my consulting business. And we built a tremendous consulting business. We're working with solo entrepreneurs that do private label all the way up to Fortune 500 companies that don't know what the heck they're doing on Amazon. So it's really been an honor and a blessing to be able to help people, to be able to change their businesses, to be able to change people's lives. I've had, people tell me, oh, you're a messenger from God, you're this, you're that, you changed my whole business. Because of you, I was able to buy a house. Because of you, I was able to spend more time with my kids. Because of you, I was able to save my marriage, and all these things. I was able to pay my bills. So it's a pretty incredible feeling. And anybody who's ever helped anyone else knows that feeling is 100 times better than your own success. So I learned from Tony. I learned from Russell Brunson. I learned from Brian Tracy. I learned from Gary Vaynerchuk. I've actually spent one-on-one time with all those guys, and it's pretty incredible to learn from them. They're genuine people. They're authentic. They have good hearts, good souls, and they really want to impact the world. Obviously, there's got to be a monetary component, like Tony says. He wouldn't be able to do what he's doing for 40 years if he wasn't getting paid. So, it's just amazing. People have told me I'm the Tony Robbins of Amazon. And, it's just amazing to be able to help people. And, like I said, we work with private label sellers. We work with Fortune 500 companies. We signed some big fashion accounts and footwear accounts lately who have had terrible experiences with Amazon. We work with one company. I'm not sure if I could say the name. We have an NDA with them. But basically, they're a top selling product in 7-Eleven. And they sold the product to Amazon, and Amazon obliterated the price. And it got so bad that 7-Eleven called them up and said, hey, what's going on? Amazon's selling it cheaper than you're selling it to us wholesale. Oh. And so they almost lost their biggest account. And then they tried to sell third party on Amazon by themselves. And they lost even more money because they didn't know what they were doing. And then they partnered up with us. They were calling me for about 2 years, picking my brain. And I was helping them for free. And finally, after about 2 years, they're like, just take over the Amazon account. We trust you implicitly. They're paying us like 10 grand a month, and they're doing about 2 million a month on Amazon.
Wow.
With a handful of products. So
is the strategy the same then for everybody, whether it's a company like that or whether it's somebody starting from scratch?
Yeah, so the principles and the strategies and the tactics and the techniques are pretty much the same. Obviously, you want to have the best possible pictures. You want to have, as many pictures as Amazon allows. You want to optimize the listing. So optimizing a listing is really part art and part science, because you have to weave in all the pertinent keywords, but you also have to make it compelling for a consumer to want to buy it. So it's an art and it's a science. We work on the titles, we work on the keywords, we work on the bullet points, we work on the descriptions, we work on the enhanced brand content, we work on the sponsored ads campaigns. We work on targeting competitors and spying on competitors and seeing what they're doing that's working and not working. We have a deal with Amazon where any one of our clients qualifies for the best deals, which is like a lightning deal, except it lasts for 2 weeks. So if you ever go on Amazon and it says today's deals, you get prime real estate on Amazon for 2 weeks. And 99 out of 100 times, it has a halo effect. After you sell a ton of it and you get good reviews, then you get natural organic sales. You move up in the A9 search algorithm, and it has a residual effect for months or years to come. So we have a lot of things that we do. We actually get data directly from Amazon, which 99% of sellers and 99% of consultants don't. So I know there's a lot of over-the-counter software that's good, like Helium 10 and, Seller Labs and Merchant Words and all that, but our data is directly from Amazon.
Wow.
So we actually know what people are searching for. We actually know what people are buying. We actually know, which variations of a product are selling, which reviews, which feedback. We know the game inside out. And then for our upper level clients, like our inner circle clients, if they're a brand owner, we also developed a comprehensive social media strategy to help them on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter and Pinterest. And it's part of an overall strategy for whether they're looking for brand awareness, or they're looking to preserve their brand integrity, or they're looking for top line revenues, or they're looking for bottom line sales. If they're looking for an exit strategy where they want to sell the business in 1 to 5 years, at a high valuation, it's a comprehensive package that we do. We also build them out a Shopify store, which integrates beautifully with Amazon FBA. So you could actually make sales on a Shopify website and have Amazon fulfill the orders for you. So it's pretty cool.
I mean, there's so much to know about Amazon. I feel like a newbie would just be so inundated with information, they wouldn't even know where to start. So, is there a strategy to picking the right product? I mean, should you be looking at I don't even know what the strategy is, but I think I've heard the high performing products, but with low competition at a certain price point.
Right. So I could try to explain it a little bit better than that. I just wanted to touch on something you said. There's definitely information overload if you're scouring the internet looking for information about how to sell on Amazon. People go on YouTube, people go on Facebook, people go on seller forums and chats and this and that. There's also a lot of misinformation, in addition to there being information overload. So people, hear a rumor and they take it as gospel, and they disseminate bad information, and it just leads to, tens of thousands of dollars in mistakes and thousands of hours in mistakes. I get the calls every week from people that have wired money to a factory in China through Alibaba, and the factory went silent on them. And they're like, what do I do? I wired them 20 grand. And I'm like, you shouldn't have done that, And they're like, well, I'm going to go to China and get my money back. And I'm like, you definitely don't want to do that. You'll end up in a Chinese prison, and that won't be well. Won't be good. It's the private label, and there's 3 main pillars to private label. The first one is obviously the most critical. It's product research. And what you said is fairly accurate. You do want to look for something that is in high demand, that doesn't have a comparable level of supply. It doesn't have a dominant brand in the category. Like, you're probably not going to make tape because 3M Scotch tape owns the market, know. But there's other categories like pet products, or, baby products, or home products, or, even shoes and clothing. I mean, we have tons of clients that are doing phenomenal in those categories as private label sellers. And we walk you through the whole process. We get you a trademark lawyer. We walk you through brand registry, and we make sure that everything is covered. All your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. So there's product research, which is a big part of the process. It could take months to find, a grand slam product, or even a home run product. And then there's product sourcing, which is another whole experience in itself. We actually have boots on the ground in China, in India, in Pakistan. Those are places where most people make their products, depending on the category. And then the third component is branding, sales, and marketing. And if you don't know how to do that, the first 2 steps don't matter. So there's it's a formula for being successful on Amazon. And it doesn't matter who you are, or how much money you have, or how much time you have, or what the product is. There's an exact formula that works for, unless your product research or your product sourcing sucked, then the product branding, sales, and marketing will work.
Well, this
So
leads me back. See, now this leads me back to where I was going when I ran to that product. And two things now that you have said have triggered me to go get this product. And
did you make
one is
a
that,
garlic press?
not the garlic press. I have seen that video, I think. No, it wasn't
Okay.
garlic press. So my full-time job is this. I'm a trademark lawyer, but
Sorry to hear that.
what's that?
I said, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry. Well, I like talking to people like you, though. It makes my job enjoyable. And then
my mother always tells me I should have been a lawyer. I said, they don't make enough.
It's true. It's true. Everyone thinks lawyers are millionaires, but Amazon sellers are the millionaires.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them. But so before I actually became a lawyer, I had started a brand. And we didn't really sell on Amazon at all. And then we tried to jump on the Amazon wagon. And we started off with this product. Do you see this?
Absolutely. That's to hold the pizza in place?
No.
Oh, that's what it looks like.
Now you gave me a good idea, but no, it's actually...
It looks like the thing they send you for pizza.
Yeah,
so
but
the cheese doesn't go on the roof of the box.
Well, gosh.
Is that a safety thing for kids for sockets?
Yes, it's a socket cover.
So I have hundreds of those in my house because I have kids and grandkids, and I actually have a client who does really well with that product.
Yes, and so we picked that product and we thought, okay, we think this is the right one. We have some other products up there, and it was a total flop. So now, I accidentally spilled all my boxes as I was getting this one little box. And, we have like 2 loads of boxes here with just covers, outlet covers.
So you have to give them out at baby showers.
Yes, baby showers and wherever parents
for the next 50
coming,
years.
or at Best Buy.
50 years. Yeah.
So, but thinking about everything that you said, one, that you have to be passionate. I was very passionate. I still am very passionate about the brand that we started because it was premised on my kids, and so my kids came at a pivotal point where I wanted to stay home, but I also wanted to continue to be a lawyer, but I wanted something that was going to be for them, which was this brand.
Right.
And then you touched on something else too, which was the fact that, there are 3 components to selling on Amazon. And if one of those isn't right, everything's out of balance.
Right.
So although I'm not quite sure where I went wrong with the outlet covers, I know I went wrong.
You probably picked the wrong product.
I probably picked the wrong product.
But your heart was in the right place.
My heart was in the right place. And we still have another product though, which I'll talk to you about later. But, where do people, how do you find a middle ground between your passion and a product that works? That's the problem.
That's the $1 billion question, not the $1 million question. So I actually developed a product. It's a cool story. I was doing research like everyone else, private label on Amazon, and I wanted to do something in health and personal care. And there was one product that kept coming up on Amazon, and I was tracking it every day for a month. And it was always ranked in the top 100. Mm-hmm. Now, most private label consultants tell you don't go after that because it's too hard to tackle something that's got a sales rank of under 100. They try to tell you stick between 1,000 and 10,000 sales rank so that you can be competitive, but there's no dominant player. Mm-hmm. Me, of course, I don't listen to conventional wisdom. So I went out and I bought the product. And it was called Penetrex. And it's been on Amazon for years, and they have 30,000 positive reviews. And it's just, I checked the sales velocity with Amazon themselves, mm-hmm. In addition to the over-the-counter tools like Jungle Scout that estimates how much, product sells. But I got the data directly from Amazon, and they do millions of dollars in sales with this one product. And I'm like, why can't we do it better? And so my best friend's a ER doctor here in Jersey. Mm-hmm. So we were sitting in my hot tub one night, and I'm like, hey, Jason, why don't we do this together? You're the doctor, I'm the Amazon guy, and we'll go partners. Yeah, I love it. It's great. Let me know what you need from me. So we were talking about anti-inflammatories and how some people take pills and it affects them internally with ulcers. There's side effects. So we came up with a idea for a topical anti-inflammatory cream. And 6 months go by, and neither one of us did a damn thing about it. So we were both too busy. He's running the emergency room, and I'm running what I'm running. And so we did nothing. All of a sudden, a guy walks into my office, and I said, "You have a lot of experience in manufacturing. Can you help us make this?" He goes, "Well, I want to be a partner in this." And so we ended up having 5 partners. So the company was called Five Guys and a Jar. Okay. We changed the name afterwards. It was called Square One New Zealand. And we developed this product in New Zealand based on a product called Manuka honey, which is, it's indigenous to New Zealand. And my sister actually feeds it to her kids for their digestive systems. And it's got amazing powers. Dr. Oz talks about it. Everybody talks about it. And so it's got 9 different anti-inflammatory ingredients in there. It's got arnica, and I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just telling you the story. It's got Manuka honey, arnica, cayenne, lemon balm, ginger. And it took us about a year to get everything right, from the formula to the branding to the packaging to the FDA. You know, it was like a whole crazy navigation. And once we put it on Amazon, it took off like a rocket ship.
Wow.
And now we're getting orders from Home Shopping Network and QVC. We're talking to Walgreens and CVS. We've been in talks with Walmart, but we're not sure if we want to put it in there. And every single person that uses it says, "I can't believe this actually works. I've tried everything. I have a frozen shoulder. I have sciatica. I have fibromyalgia. I have, carpal tunnel. I mean, whatever ails you, this thing seems to cure." And I'm always shocked that it actually works. But it's amazing. So, we've been very successful with private label, thank God. And we also do brand name products. We do a ton of, Nike, Reebok, Adidas, Puma, Calvin Klein, Badgley, Mishka, Sam Edelman, a lot of fashion and footwear.
Oh, wow.
We're working with Vince Camuto now. So we're doing a lot of fashion and footwear because we find that there's a lot less competition in those categories, and there's much higher margins in those categories.
So what are your top tips for people that are still looking at doing this on their own?
Okay, so I have 10 things that I've documented that allowed me to scale my business from a one-man show to a $20 million a year business, which I don't even have to touch or be involved in. So I'll give them to you real quickly. The first one is delegate. Find out exactly what needs to be done and figure out how to delegate it to someone other than yourself. Okay? So we have virtual assistants in the Philippines that get anywhere from $3 to $8 an hour. They do most of my back end on Amazon, and they do it for all my clients. Okay? The next thing is outsource. So similar to delegate, what can you outsource? What can you give off to someone else? And you look at what I do is I have a journal, and I'm rigid about time management. And there's 168 hours in the week. And I literally document how I spend every single hour, whether it's sleeping or eating or hanging out with my kids or working. And I say, is this something I could outsource? Is this $10 an hour work, or is this $1,000 an hour work? And if it's $10 an hour work, I'm going to find someone to do it for $10 an hour. It's not going to be me. And even when I didn't have the money, I had that mentality, because I knew in order to get to the level I wanted to get to, I needed to hire someone to label the DVDs. I needed to hire someone to pack the boxes. I needed to focus on sourcing and financing and working on the business rather than in the business. So I'm overseeing it, but I'm not actually doing the nitty-gritty daily grind. So you have delegating, you have outsourcing, you have automating. There's tons of software out there that can save you tens of hours a week of manual work. Like we use repricers. We use, we get a list from a supplier with 10,000 products. We run it through a software and it tells us what the buy box price is, what the fees are, what the profits are, what the sales rank is, how many competitors, whether or not Amazon's selling the product. And it becomes like a very easy, manageable Excel spreadsheet. I actually didn't know how to use Microsoft Excel 8 years ago, and now I'm an expert. I mean, my eyes were bleeding watching YouTube videos, but I figured it out. I still can't do a VLOOKUP, but everybody that works for me is half my age, except for my CFO, who's like a white-haired Italian guy who's seen it all. But most of the people that work for me are much younger than me, and they're much more tech-savvy than me. So you have delegate, outsource, automate. Another big one I scream about is eliminate. Don't be doing busy work that's not going to translate to your bottom line. Everyone likes to be busy 24/7. They like to hustle. They like to work hard. You got to work smarter, not harder. I know that's a terrible business cliche, but it's the truth. Don't be doing things that don't impact your overall business. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't micromanage every single thing. Done is better than perfect. Okay? So you have delegate, you have outsource, you have automate, you have eliminate. The fifth one, I completely forgot. No, is standard operating procedures. So everything we do gets documented on the Google Drive or in Microsoft Word or on the Microsoft OneDrive, and everything is documented step by step and printed out. This way, if we have employee turnover or we're growing very quickly and we need to reassign jobs as the more senior people take more senior jobs, then the newer people will take the jobs that they were doing. So everything we do is documented. We share it with our clients, standard operating procedures. We have standard templates. If you get a policy violation from Amazon, an inauthentic claim or an intellectual property claim, or if you get suspended, everything is standard operating procedures with us. So that's a big one for us, and that has allowed us to scale to the moon. The next thing is processing. We still work on our processing every day. How can we be more efficient? How can we be more productive? And we bought forklifts, and we bought shrink wrap machines, and we bought automatic tape dispensers, and we bought 3-inch tape instead of 2-inch tape. And all these things don't sound like much, but when your payroll is as big as ours is, it really adds to your bottom line. It could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. It could mean the difference between millions of dollars in sales. Every little thing that you fix has an impact on your bottom line. And together, they become a big impact on your bottom line. So we have standard operating procedures, processing, logistics, very important. I mean, at the end of the day, Amazon is a logistics company, and we're all just selling widgets on Amazon, but their biggest strength is logistics. And that's why anytime anyone's ever asked me in the 8 years, who's the biggest threat to Amazon, my answer has always been Walmart, because they're the only ones that are on Amazon's level when it comes to logistics and when it comes to having 5,000 stores. And, eBay is not a threat to Amazon. Rakuten and Jet and all this, it's all nonsense. The two guys that are going to be left standing are Amazon and Walmart. Okay, so that's logistics. Then we talk about infrastructure. Do you have systems in place to scale up? Can you scale up if you were to get somebody to give you $1 million to go buy inventory? People ask me every day, should I take a loan? Should I take a partner? Should I take an investor? Should I do a home equity line of credit? Should I go into my 401k? Should I get a 0% interest credit card? And I always tell them the same thing. The answer is always that depends. If you have a successful business model and it's profitable and you have systems in place and infrastructure, and you could intelligently deploy that capital and then manage the inventory and manage the pricing, then it's a good idea to take other people's money, for lack of a better term. If you have a failing business model and you're not profitable, taking more money is going to compound your problems. So don't think taking more money is going to help you if you don't have a successful, profitable business. Mm-hmm. It's going to make it worse, because then you have debt service and you have all these other things.
Makes sense.
So the last two are technology. Mm-hmm. Anything that I can buy, for lack of a better term, or rent, or whatever you want to call it, that has to do with technology, I'm like Inspector Gadget. I will buy every single thing that's put out there, every single training, every single software, the fastest internet in the world, high-end computers, whatever it takes to make my business more efficient and more profitable, I will spend that money. We ordered a forklift when we moved into our big warehouse, and it was going to be like $30,000. And I said, okay, we'll finance it. It'll be a few hundred a month, no problem. The night before it was being delivered, he said, there's an issue with your credit. We're not approving the financing. And this was in October. So we were going into Q4. We moved into a 16,000 square foot warehouse, and we had no forklift.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to make the executive decision to put it on the credit card, $30,000 to buy a forklift, because we needed a forklift. And it sucked that I couldn't finance it, but I had to do it. Wow. So technology is huge. And the last one is software. We use more software subscriptions than you can imagine. Mm-hmm. Anything that can replace a human being is valuable to me. If I could spend $100 a month on a piece of software instead of paying an employee $4,000 a month, that's a win for me. So we look at it software first, virtual assistant second, my team in New Jersey third, and if it has to escalate all the way up to me, that's when I'll get involved. Mm. So we have a 4-step process. Mm-hmm. I tell my people, don't bother me with any questions that have to do with less than $1,000. And for some employees, it's $10,000 because I trust them implicitly. Mm-hmm. But I want them to make their own decisions. I want them to be empowered. I want them to, use their own decision making. I want them to learn how I think. My employees know exactly how I would answer any question they would ask me at this point. Mm-hmm. Because they've been with me for so long. They know how I think. They know my thought processes. They know my decision making processes. And it's really become not an autopilot business, but it's something that doesn't require more than 10% of my time. 90% of my time is spent on my consulting business because I absolutely love it. And I have a real estate business, and we have a private label business, and we have other businesses. But my focus and energy and brain power is on the consulting because I can impact the most people, in that business.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, listen, this podcast is, usually only about 30 minutes, and I kind of want to keep going. I don't want to, I don't want to take up more than your time, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to turn this into a 2-part session, just because the information I think is so valuable, and you're so easy to talk to. So, if you don't mind, can we continue this conversation in a 2nd-part series? Though I'll still be talking to you as we log off. So everyone listening to the AM show, I want you to stay tuned because Sam is coming back for part 2, and I'm sure you don't want to miss this. And if you have any doubts about what he already mentioned, then I think you need to go back, rewatch, take out your pen and paper, and take notes on what he said. Do that before you listen to part 2, and stay tuned.